Is anyone who can contribute to
Yeah,
this?
let me jump in here. Actually, yes, as we discussed earlier in the morning, the discussion in the morning, we will try if we can get some research and some academic papers from Swinburne, but this job is in the hands of the Central Bank of Somalia and the FRC that Ahmed mentioned earlier on. I think there is a lot of good work that is happening on the ground now, the last mile, and there's a lot of projects going on now. But the problem here is um, the Somali remittance industry. It's double-edged sword. Um, yes, people want to help. People are contributing. Everyone is sending money to Somalia, all the Somali diaspora. There is a genuine concern from the developed world. I mean, everyone knows, we mentioned this morning, Westpac was hit $1.3 billion, something that the remittance industry, they do day in, day out, literally, because from the little information we have, Westpac could have done better in terms of reporting to Australia. But it's not that easy. Banks, I'm coming from business and I'm not a capitalist, but I'm defending that in this aspect. This banks, they're open for business. They have to, they got shareholders and they got every year annual general meeting and all that. Uh, People want return for their investment. If I know that I will be hit 1.3 billion with something that I cannot do anything as humanly, as technologically possible, what can the banks do? Something that is happening in Somalia. You know, the Patriotic Act from the USA, it clearly mentions that if money, even if it's $100, goes through a Commonwealth Bank and ends up crook hand in Somalia or somewhere else, the bank is liable. They cannot do anything. So if I'm a bank, I would say, look, how much money I'm making this business, 2 million, 3 million. What is the downside? I might get fine of $1.3 billion. I don't think you need Steve, rocket scientist or Einstein's brain to make that decision. I mean, I don't want to get 2 million if there are higher chances of getting a fine of 1.3 billion, period. I think I had a lot of discussion with a lot of people, Central Bank of Somalia, and my colleagues here, Mohammed, Ahmed, all of them. They always think I'm advocate for the banks. No, I'm not. Basically, the banks, they're open for business. And you have to mitigate the risk. If you cannot mitigate the risk, it's a business decision. And that's what the Real will do, the Real Bank in Somalia. If we see business that have a risk and that risk cannot be mitigated, I mean, the board is not going to listen to that. I mean, you know that you will be hit 1.3 billion. What is the maximum you can make out of this? It's only 10 million. I shouldn't say the word only. It's 10 million. 10 million versus 1.3 billion. I'm not going to take this. So this is what I mean, double-edged sword. It's in a good intention. I know that when my classmate calls me from Somalia with 5 children and mom is going hospital and I don't really think about it. I will send whatever I can get that I can afford. It's Abdisalam was talking earlier on today, $1.4 billion going to Somalia. So I'm sorry, Ahmed. It's not a problem that a university can solve. It's universities, they can help us get data and research and information and all that. But the Central Bank of Somalia has to come up with the goods. I mean, they have to talk to their counterparts around the world. And personally, I cannot go that far, but I can say there is a solution for this problem. It's the government. It's ABRA. It's FinCEN in USA. It is whatever their counterparts in Canada, America, UK. banks, they should be given the chance that whatever they can do as humanly possible, as technologically possible, use artificial intelligence, use whatever you can, everything that you can do. If that risk cannot be mitigated, I don't think banks should be blamed. The government should come up with a program that can say, look, not throw away Patriotic Act, but the only good thing Donald Trump come up with was when he was talking about how to open up the banks. But anyway, I think there is a lot of good work going on with the Financial Reporting Center of Somalia, the Central Bank of Somalia. Let them cooperate with their counterparts around the world. Leave the banks alone. The banks, I remember the Royal Commission and all that. They are not the best. They are not, you know, but when it comes to remittance, I think this is the only time I can see banks have valid point. Ahmed, Somalia, everywhere, let's come up a solution that says governments, they should give the chance, if the banks do whatever they can in terms of anti-money laundering laws, combating terrorist finance, everything that is imaginable, then they shouldn't be punished and problem solve it. Thank you.
Hamid, I hear you. I'll just conclude with this, Hamid, if I may. The point I was trying to make, Hamid, is I'm not against the banks, but what I'm saying is we all know in the case of Somalia, remittance is the lifeline for those poor people that banks cannot reach from the Western side. That's well known, well documented. No arguments about that. What I was trying to say was there needs to be the strengthening of the supporting legislation and regulations, like Peter alluded to earlier. And in the absence of that, we run the risk of those people who are trying to help missing out on what the little they get from the source countries. That's the point. We need to focus on that. The government in Somalia should be mindful of that. And us from the West, those of us who are living in the West, we should be doing whatever we can to make sure that that lifeline is not lost. That's my point.
Well, thanks, Ahmed. I guess we have to wrap up very soon, but to me, I'm on the record. You all know my view on this, banking the unbanked, and I will even paraphrase another famous person who said, we need banking, but no, not banks. And I will even go now today a step further, and I will say banks will not be even with us in a few years' time. They will become dinosaurs. These are all academic exercises I'm working through, but we have to agree to disagree. We'll continue that discussion in detail tomorrow. But first, I want to let Steve was
Paul, Paul, nice to see you again, sort of see you.
Hi, Steve.
In the shadows. Oh, there you are. Thank you for the invitation last year. I was just wondering if there's been any progress. I know our universities don't have the equivalent of what you've managed there in Swinburne, which is to combine, you know, social justice, social action. I forget the title of your department, but I loved it. And technology. Has there been anyone taking up, PhD students or anyone taking up the challenge that is the education part that I was concerned with, that Mohammed and I were concerned with?
Well, just
making it more accessible, etc.
Yeah, the short answer is yes, and not enough. And to jump in on what Ahmed was saying before, the only reason I didn't comment back is because I'm in complete agreement with you. And really, the more, I think when it comes to those financial communications and transactions, it's really going to be a game of trust and transparency at the end of the day. And that's the role that national identity has to play in the long term, I think. I don't think it's an easy fix at the moment. I think there's 4 hard years ahead just working on foundational ID before we become close. But trust and transparency has to be at the heart of the game. That's what will solve the problem long term. Steve, came back to you, and how we get there is, I guess, we've taken on the hard slog at the Information Systems for Social Impact Research Group. That's the group you're referring to.
Yeah.
Look, I have to say that over the last 12 months, one of our big changes is that Mohammed has been an even more core and central actor in our research group. So we've been moving forward. We've done a lot of work on national ID over the last 12 months. In fact, we've moved that forward to now to the point of publication and reporting, and that's what I'll make available to you, Hamid. In terms of where we would like to be in the educational space, not quite so much. We did let go a little bit of that this year, but what we've done is really, we ended last year with some meetings where we flagged 3 strong projects that we believe we could continue to hit with a straight bat and achieve some good around. They were the National Digital ID Program, and we continue to work on that. The second was, and Abdusalam's not here now, but certainly some of the very good work happening around FPENs and education there. And we also saw the importance of the data that FPENs comprises as well. And we saw some of that being discussed today as part of Abdusalam's work, although he focused more on his remittance side of the fence in his conversation today. And then the third one was to look at some work that we might do around innovation in the agricultural sector with a university out of Somaliland. So across this year, we managed to get one project going forward very strongly, and we have 2 other projects in abatement. Just as we talk here, I'm busy having a look at some emails from our research group students who are letting me know about their availability for this summer. So yeah,
on the civics line.
Yeah, so you've like certainly I could probably bring one of those into the education project. And I guess one of the things we discussed last year, Steve, was what to do with the Somali government information website, and that might be that. And Mohammed, that might be a project that we could really have some scholars pick up on, some summer research students pick up on. So to continue to build that sort of good work that you did, Steve, there on that website, take it forward a little bit.
Yeah, that's the Somali School of Government.
Thank you. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm
Peter,
operating from memory.
I just want to give Peter one more chance if you have anything to say or to conclude. We're just about wrapping up. Or
yeah, just briefly to Hamid, thanks for that. Sorry I missed your your text in the chat window earlier, but yeah, let's talk offline about what you and the bank you work for may be able to do, maybe in this this coverage mapping project. I'd be interested to hear more about that. And Steve, I was fascinated by the slide you had on with the New Zealand space program there. I must say, I wasn't aware that New Zealand is actually launching rockets into space from New Zealand.
Yeah, we've had 14 rockets up so far. Yeah, and we launched satellites. Yeah,
and satellites and communication satellites, or
low orbit, mostly low orbit, but also we're now at the stage of retrieving the rocket as well.
Yeah, fascinating.
Yeah, American funded, but New Zealand's shareholders as well.
Yes. All right.
Okay. Well, I think we're just about over time, but I want to Paul to wrap up and just do the concluding remarks. But we're on tomorrow again, more focused on mobile money and remittances and data about Somalia. So please welcome back again, and I hope to see you. But Paul, if you want to just conclude for us, please.
Again, thank you all for attending today. I found it, when I saw the program, it was an event I wanted to be at. And today has been a really exciting day for me. I think what Zoom lends us is the opportunity for a much richer immediate discussion rather than question and answer just at the end of the presentation. I found the conversation around the presentations today really fruitful. And at a personal level, I'm looking forward to the next year because I enjoy this work very much, and hopefully it can lead to some good along the way as well.
Well, thanks, Paul. I think we'll probably see you tomorrow BM, but we'll start AM. We'll be engaging our focus in the North America and Canada in the morning, and then in the afternoon, Somalia and the Middle East. So if you have time, please join us. But I want to thank you again for your time. This was an amazing day. I've learned so much, and I hope the same for you. We'll continue tomorrow. Good afternoon or good evening or good morning, wherever you are.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Ahmed. Hamid as well. Nice to see you again.
Okay, we'll talk tomorrow. Thank you. Thanks, Peter. Okay, thank you.
Bye.
See you all tomorrow.
Yeah, this will be all online again. People are watching on Facebook, but we'll be editing this and also making it available over the next few days.
Thanks, Mohammed. I'm still teaching, but I'll get back.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay. Good afternoon. Bye.